On this almost deserted stretch of coastline, hidden is an underwater and thriving forest. Huge plants continue to grow and extend towards the sun. This is kelp. They grow densely, forming the golden forests of Africa. This forest shelters unique and rare marine life. You could say it is the backbone of the frigid ocean that surrounds the southern tip of Africa. This fragile forest, it is one of the most productive ecosystems on Earth. All life that lives here on the coast. Are closely related to these giant plants. The red romaine is a prime example of this. Its life begins as a female. They become male with age. The reproductive system of fish is relatively simple. Just a few adjustments to the gonadal structure to complete the gender transition. When they were smaller and surrounded by large males for protection, breeding as a female is the best option. Adult males have clear domain awareness. This male occupies the ideal habitat, an underwater cave initialized by the waves. This is where green-eating worms and sponges thrive. The males compete for the best territory. Regular patrols. Keep an eye on your neighbor's movements. But when humans step in, this gender transition mechanism may be out of balance. Because in fishing, large and fierce individuals are often the first to be captured. And in the red romaine, these large individuals are almost entirely males. And as a result, populations of males have plummeted. The gender ratio is seriously unbalanced. The imbalance prompts some small immature females become male prematurely. But they're smaller, limited egg production, causing the entire population. It's not fertile enough to sustain the population. Therefore, it is equally important to protect large males and young females. And that can only be done through marine protected areas. Let's create healthy schools of fish. Stay away from fishing nets. Closely related to upwelling, there are also some very representative coastal residents. African penguin. Yes, the only penguin species that lives in the cold waters of Africa. And one of only 4 striped penguins on Earth. They feed on fish in the high seas. Stay away from kelp forests. But during the breeding season, must return to terrestrial breeding grounds every day. At low tide in spring, kelp forest, forming a huge, slippery barrier. Shaking giant plants block their way. To cross this bamboo forest in the sea requires tenacious will and physical strength. Some penguins choose to sprint directly to shore. Successful log-in. Others will wait. Wait until the tide falls before acting. In the golden forests of Africa, also home to powerful apex predators, seven-gill sharks are also known as bull sharks. It is one of the oldest sharks on Earth. They can easily shuttle between kelp. Most individuals have bite marks from mating. The belly of the female shark is visibly bulged. It means they are pregnant. Under the shelter of this forest, many seven-gill sharks congregate here, perhaps to avoid the true predator, the great white shark. In open water, the seven-gill is no match for the great white. It is in the golden forests of Africa. Seven-gill sharks form one of the largest aggregates in the world. Divers come to South Africa every year. I want to get up close and personal with them in their natural state. There's no feeding, there's no bait. Divers are free to swim with sharks. Seven-gill sharks seem slow and docile, but it's actually an efficient hunter, can cooperate in hunting large fish. Even marine mammals like seals. The first seal appeared in the North Pacific between 11 and 12 million years ago, then gradually spread to the southern hemisphere. In South Africa, they inhabit the coast of the cold Benguela Current. This is where the kelp forest flourishes. Seals are wonders of evolution. Their ancestors were land mammals, now fully adapted to sea life. Their bone structure and physiology let them become underwater masters. They retain their amphibious character. They still depend on land for reproduction. One of the seal's unique evolutions. It's because they have an enormous oxygen reserve. Like most marine mammals, they mainly store oxygen in the blood and muscles. The lungs have very little oxygen. Seals expel air from their lungs before diving to reduce the effects of underwater compression and buoyancy. Although seals look very different from humans, but their preskeletal structure almost one-to-one correspondence with a human arm. These front flags are powered by powerful pectoral muscles. Is the main driving force. The flag is raised behind, mainly used for steering and stopping. In the water they move with agility and elegance. Seals are intelligent mammals. Like a dog, it can be trained to complete complex tasks. Infancy. They practiced their hunting skills through frolic. Also learn how to escape shark pursuit. And in this unique breeding colony, they seem to be working on another, unusual behavior. In this colony, there's a body of water that's teeming with young seals. The fat layer in their body make them prone to overheating on land. So the cold water becomes an ideal cooling pool. But the same layer of fat, high-energy food for sharks. While playing in the water, these seals seem to constantly observe the ocean floor. Watch out for the soft algae. They are like toys. It's like a natural alarm. Soon the game turned into munching on kelp. Hundreds of seals every day eat these plants. Gradually changed the entire underwater landscape. In the most extreme cases, kelp leaves will be completely bitten off. The plant dies. This chain reaction, it thins out the algae cover on the ocean floor. Why do seals do this? Maybe to broaden their horizons, to detect lurking sharks earlier, because they rely heavily on vision to spot danger. The real escape window is very short. When swimming underwater, if you can maintain a visual distance from your partner, we can dramatically improve survival. Once a seal sees danger and flees quickly, other companions will immediately see and react synchronously. This strategy, this is especially important in low visibility waters or at night. So in this diving playground, large kelp becomes an obstacle, and the leopard pups that were playing were actually responsible for killing the kelp. Africa's golden forest, relying on cold ocean currents and strong offshore winds, thrive. Large amounts of deep-sea nutrients are carried to the surface. It gave birth to this unique underwater world. But sometimes when the wind stops, a disaster ensued. After weeks of strong southeasterly winds, the wind suddenly stopped. No more blowing for days on end. This means that surface seawater is rich in nutrients, but can no longer be renewed by the cold, clear deep waters. a wind-driven conveyor belt comes to a standstill. At the same time, the weak land wind often heralds disaster. Microscopic algae in seawater begin to multiply rapidly. Rapid consumption of nutrients. Some algae even migrate from deep water to the surface. Dominant phytoplankton community. Make the color of the water change significantly. The result is a dramatic drop in oxygen in the water. And the creatures living under kelp forests have nowhere to run. Rock lobsters on the west coast feel a sudden drop in oxygen. Start gathering in large numbers. Black waves foreshadow. A dramatic event is about to unfold. Swarms of salt lobsters attempt to escape oxygen-starved waters, crawling towards shallower waters. But when they reach the shallows, the waves will wash them ashore. Lots of stranded on the beach finally die. This mass escape became a feast for seagulls. They would circle the beach for days, die as often as possible. However, in this hypoxia crisis, other residents of the kelp forest are also doomed. Also during this time, a large number of deaths. A few days later, strong winds restart the ocean conveyor belt, blowing oxygen-starved waters offshore again. New cold, oxygen-rich deep waters are making a comeback. Life in the forest wakes up. Africa's golden forest is in the global ocean, one of the most biodiverse ecosystems. Countless strange creatures have evolved here, dotted with this mysterious underwater world. This golden forest, it also had a profound impact on the history and destiny of mankind. For thousands of years, humans along the shores of the world depends on kelp forests for food and resources. But in the southernmost tip of Africa, the latest archaeological research shows that this kelp forest probably also participated in the origin of modern humans. It brought lots of food to the coast. It has produced a rich shellfish resource as early as 160,000 years ago. These shellfish are already an important source of food for our ancestors. This vast silent golden underwater world, Africa's coastal forests, its web of life, it's relevant to all of us.